This is the Mercedes EQS. It's the company's largest and most expensive electric car, until the EQS SUV arrives next year anyway. Its size and pricing puts it in the same kind of league as the S-Class Mercedes, which means it sits above the likes of Tesla Model S. However, later next year we'll also see the BMW i7 coming in, and that'll be a direct rival for this car. Anyway, let's have a closer look. This particular vehicle is sitting on 21-inch rims. They're optional. I think they really add to the stance and they kind of offset the curvaceous look of the rest of it. Elsewhere, this one curve joins the windscreen, the roof and the rear window, and it gives this EQS its distinctive shape. It's also got flush fitting door handles, and the rest of the car is quite smooth on the side. At the back, the lights look quite simple again from a distance, but when you look at them a bit closer, they're quite intricate. They've got LED detailing and actually some sculpting in behind the lenses. It's quite impressive. At the back you got a very, very small boot spoiler, but otherwise the rear is just smooth. The sloping roof is actually a tailgate. This is not a saloon, even though Mercedes does call it that. And inside is a huge boot. It holds 610 litres. As this is a luxury car, the rear seating is just as important as the front. Many owners will actually spend time back here. It is a little bit compromised by the shape of this roof, so headroom is perhaps not as amazing as it could be. But legroom is decent. There's plenty of space to stretch out here, plenty of room for your feet under the seat in front. The only thing we will say is this seat base is a little bit short. There are plenty of luxuries in the back though. You get heated seats, you have full climate control, and I particularly like these very soft cushioned pillows that are in the back of the headrests. Inside the front of the EQS, this really feels like a luxury car. Really high quality everywhere, very modern materials as well, and very modern design. It's not an old-fashioned luxury car in that way. What grabs your attention, however, if it's fitted, is this large digital dashboard. Mercedes calls it the hyperscreen, and it's actually got 3 individual screens behind one surface. It's very impressive looking. You can certainly see why a buyer might be tempted when they see this in operation in the showroom. In front of the driver you have digital instruments, there's a head-up display, a massive touchscreen in the middle, and even the passenger gets their own touchscreen. It looks fabulous and it works very well, to be honest. It is an expensive option, but we can also understand why people might go for it. It just tops the car off and makes it feel like something very special indeed. Elsewhere in here, there's a lot to look at. There's plenty of storage in the center console, and yet you don't feel hemmed in by it. You do feel like you've plenty of space here in the driver's seat. As soon as a passenger gets in, they can activate this extra screen. They can do everything on it. They can set the navigation, they can change the radio station. However, it isn't really a big stretch to do that from the center, so actually it might be a bit of a gimmick. As you'd hope, given the luxury car billing, the EQS is, well, luxurious on the road. It's very comfortable, it's very quiet, it's smooth, the driving controls are all light and easy to use. It is a big car, so it's probably not ideal for smaller roads. But the motorway is obviously where it's designed to spend a lot of its time, and you could travel the length of Ireland in this car and be comfortable. There's very little road noise, very little wind noise. Obviously the motor itself is well isolated from the cabin. When you put your foot down a little bit more, there is a synthetic noise comes into it, and it does sound a little bit sporty, but really you have to remind yourself it's a luxury car. Despite that, and even this entry-level model is more than fast enough. The rear-mounted electric motor produces about 333 horsepower, and it's fast enough by any measure. 0 to 100 kilometers an hour is quoted as 6.2 seconds, which nobody needs any faster than that. Thankfully, Mercedes hasn't given it crazy fast acceleration off the line, and where you have to learn how to modulate that, and you don't want to make your passengers feel uncomfortable. It isn't like that. This car is smooth from the off. If you really put your foot down, it will shift, but its natural demeanour is just smoothness. There is a sport driving mode, and the acceleration is a little bit snappier then, but it's still smooth in the extreme. We are seeing an average energy consumption figure of around 20 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, which is effectively the official energy consumption figure for this car. Admittedly, I'm not spending the whole day on the motorway here or anything, but that's really encouraging. I suspect that most drivers will get well over 600 kilometers on a full charge in this car. When you do need to charge it up, it can use the rapid charges up to 200 kilowatts, so you won't spend much time waiting around. The 450 Plus model we're driving here, it is the range champion of the lineup. You can get a four-wheel drive version of this car, but has an extra electric motor. That reduces the range a little bit. You can also get an AMG version, which is more powerful again. Realistically, this model suits all tastes. I think this will suit most buyers. If you're in the market for a luxury car, you really need to be thinking about electric power right now. The EQS is a good starting point. It isn't quite as spacious or as practical as an S-Class diesel perhaps, but for those that drive themselves and spend a lot of time in the motorway, it's a really good option. It's got a really long range, it's got fast charging, it is comfortable, it is quiet on the motorway, it's impressive looking, it's impressive technology, it's well worth a look.